Good morning, students. Myself, Major Komal Katyal, Department of Zoology, GK Govani, Government College, Bhinmal. In continuation on my lecture on blood circulatory system, today I will deliver second lecture on the physiology of blood. It includes the structure of mammalian heart. रुधिर परिसंचरण तंत्र की कार्यकी में आज हम पढ़ेंगे स्तनी के हृदय की संरचना के बारे में. First, the introductory part. What is a heart? Heart is a muscular organ in majority of animals that pumps blood via the blood vessels to form the circulatory system. As we know, there are three main components of a blood circulatory system. The first one is the blood itself, which circulates in the blood vessels, or we can say the blood is circulates in the network of large number of various type of blood vessels, including aorta, arteries, arteriole, venules, veins, vena cava, and the blood capillaries. And the second main component is the central pumping organ, which is basically responsible to pump the blood. So altogether, these three components, the central pumping organ heart, the network of blood vessels, and the blood itself, these are the three main components of the blood circulatory system. I've already told you in my first lecture on composition of blood the various functions blood performs in our body. As you know, it is basically responsible for providing important nutrients and oxygen. Apart from it, it is also responsible for removal of the metabolic waste. The heart is situated off the center to the left side of the rib cage between the lungs in mammals. As you know, in the case of mammals, there is clear-cut separation between thoracic basket or thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity. And in the thoracic cavity, on slightly left side, the heart is present between the two lungs. Now, a mammalian heart is a double pump where the blood passes through the heart twice in one cardiac cycle. This type of circulation is known as double circulation. स्तनी के अंदर हृदय से दो बार एक हृदय चक्र के दौरान रुधिर प्रवाहित होता है, इसलिए हम इसको दोहरा परिसंचरण कहते हैं. Within the heart there are two main types of chambers, the upper atrium and lower ventricles, where the human heart has two atria and two ventricles, and blood enters the atria and the blood leaves the ventricle. जो स्तनी का हृदय है उसके अंदर दो आलिंद और दो निलय होते हैं. जो आलिंद है, आलिंद के अंदर रुधिर आता है और निलय से रुधिर हृदय से बाहर जाता है. To prevent the backflow of blood, heart also consists of heart valves. There are two semilunar valves and the atrioventricular valve. As you know, in the case of human being, one auricle and one ventricle on the left side, and the other auricle and the other ventricle is present on the right side. So left ventricle is connected with the left auricle, and likewise the right ventricle is connected with the right auricle. So there is connection between the auricle and ventricular of the respective site, and the opening of the auricle into the ventricle is controlled by a valve. Valves are basically to prevent the backflow of the blood. It means if we are talking about the atrioventricular valve, they are responsible for allowing only unidirectional flow, that is from auricle to ventricle, and they will prevent the backflow. Now just look at this slide in which structure of heart is shown. With the blue color you can see the veins are shown, and with the red color you can see the arteries are shown. But there is exception, as if we look at the diagram you can see that in the case of pulmonary veins they are shown with the red, and pulmonary artery they are shown with the blue. The blue color indicates the presence of blood with less amount of oxygen, or sometimes we say deoxygenated blood, and the red blood here indicates that there is presence of oxygenated blood or blood carrying more oxygen, and due to presence of oxyhemoglobin, which is bright red in color, here it is shown as in red color. You can see the left atrium or left auricle as well as the right atrium or right auricle. Apart from it, there is presence of coronary artery, which is responsible for providing blood to the heart muscle itself. Easily visible the left and right pulmonary artery, and the presence of the brachiocephalic trunk. Now, what are the main functions of the heart? As I told you, the main function of heart is to pump the blood around the body, and the mammalian heart consists of a double pump. As mammals, we have a double circulatory system. It means the blood passes the heart twice before it has completed a full lap of the body. There are two sides of heart, the right which deal with the deoxygenated and left which deals with the oxygenated blood. Now aorta is the main artery in the body with its thick muscular wall, and it is linked with the left hand side of the heart. It means with the left ventricle. The vena cava is the major vein in the body where this returns deoxygenated blood to the right hand side of the heart. It means to the right auricle, and there are two vena cavae, one inferior and one superior, while the pulmonary artery, a exception, carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs, that is from the right ventricle, and the pulmonary vein takes the oxygenated blood from the lungs back to the heart. So there is two type of circulation. One circulation is between the left ventricle to body organs, and from body organs via vena cava to the right auricle, and then second one is from right ventricle via pulmonary artery to the lungs, and from lungs via pulmonary vein to the left auricle. So arteries always takes the blood away from the heart, while the veins always return the blood to the heart. कहने का मतलब ये है कि जो धमनियां हैं वो रुधिर को हृदय से दूर लेके जाती हैं, और शिराएं जो है वो रुधिर को हृदय की तरफ लेके आती हैं. Now the heart, the mammalian heart is surrounded by a protective sac which is known as pericardium, which is double layered, the epicardium and myocardium, and the space between these two, the pericardial space, is filled with the watery fluid, the pericardial fluid, and this pericardial fluid actually prevents the friction whenever the heart contracts or relax. The walls of the heart is covered with cardiac muscles, and the cardiac muscles allow the heart to pump the blood to the rest of the body. I've already told you regarding the chambers, the atrium and ventricles. The atrium actually receives the blood, so their walls are thinner. The size of the right atrium is greater than the size of the left atrium, but the left atrium is more brightly red colored, while the right atrium is less brightly colored. As far as the ventricle is concerned, the ventricle has thicker wall. The left ventricle has much thicker wall than the right ventricle, because the left ventricle pumps the blood to the body organ except the lungs. On the heart surface there is presence of network of arteries, including the coronary arteries, which is responsible for providing the blood to the heart itself, and whenever there is blockage in this coronary artery, body can suffer from angina, the pain in the heart, or suffer from the myocardial infarction, also known as the heart attack. The right atrium has two types of vessels, already told you earlier on. Now, as far as the internal structure is concerned, the heart has sufficient amount of adipose tissue, which is beneficial and it is the source of energy needed for effective circulation of blood because of heart regularly pumps. Now, as I told you regarding the epicardium, pericardium and endocardium, the left and right auricle and left and right ventricle also. Now let us see all these structure with clear-cut opening. Very clearly visible the left atrium and left ventricle. Boldly shown here the right atrium and the right ventricle. Now regarding the walls. The walls are AV walls or atrioventricular walls as well as two semilunar walls. The wall between the left auricle and left ventricle is known as the mitral wall or the bicuspid wall, while the right auricle and right ventricle has the wall which is known as the tricuspid wall. And as I told you earlier on, they prevent the backflow of the blood from ventricle to the auricle. Likewise, the semilunar walls are present between ventricle and aorta or pulmonary arteries. The right ventricle pumps the blood to the pulmonary artery, and so there is a pulmonary wall, and from left ventricle to the aorta there is presence of the aortic wall, which prevents the backflow of the blood from aorta to the left ventricle. This diagram depicts the structure and position of the wall very clearly marked with different color: the mitral wall, the aortic semilunar wall, the pulmonary semilunar wall, and the tricuspid wall. And if we look at the internal structure of the walls, you can easily observe their main structure. Now, what actually happens when a chamber starts contracting? It means there is built up of pressure, and due to built up of pressure the blood has two options, either to backflow or to move forward. So the blood always move forward, never backward, due to presence of these walls which only allow the unidirectional flow of the blood. This is the position. You can easily observe the tricuspid wall, clear-cut three cusps are there, and bicuspid with clear-cut two walls are there. And just like the tricuspid wall, you can easily observe the aortic and the pulmonary wall. Now this is what we have studied earlier on, that mammalian heart has a double circulation. ये वही है जो हमने प्रारंभ में पढ़ा था कि स्तनी के हृदय के अंदर दोहरा परिसंचरण होता है। यहाँ पर नीले रंग से जो परिसंचरण दिखाया है उसको हम बोल रहे हैं ऑक्सीजन रहित रुधिर का, और जो लाल रंग से दर्शाया है वो ऑक्सीजन सहित रुधिर का परिवहन को दर्शा रहा है। If you see the structure very clearly, the left part is red colored with left atrium, left ventricle, and then it is going via the aorta to the body organs. It is one type of circulation which is known as the systemic circulation. So systemic circulation include the left ventricle, aorta, body organs, then anterior and posterior vena cava and back to the right auricle. Pulmonary circulation includes the right ventricle, pulmonary artery, two lungs, from lungs to pulmonary vein, and from pulmonary vein back to the left auricle. This is the complete depiction of a cardiac cycle, which we will discuss in my next lecture. This finishes the lecture. Thank you.